Welcome to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. And now, here is your host, T. Allen Haynes.
Welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. We have Jayne Sanders. And after she obtained her MBA and over 25 years in the corporate world, she began a search for more meaningful, joyful work by helping people in deeper ways. She found scientific hand analysis, and her life hasn't been the same since. She is now a Master Hand Analyst and Teacher, Purpose Coach, and Law of Attraction Coach. How powerful is scientific hand analysis? It is so accurate, profound, and life-changing that Forbes magazine wrote an article about Jayne and her work. Jayne's other passion is riding Darby, her Arabian-Appaloosa cross she rescued a few years ago. She is all about hands and horses, well, and dark chocolate too. Welcome to the show, Jayne.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm excited. Happy to be here.
Oh, we're excited as well. You've got some great information you're going to share with the audience. So let's just get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your business and the types of people that you're helping.
So I kind of do a weird thing, Tracy. I'm a purpose coach. There's not too many of us out there. My mission is to help people identify and then live in alignment with their purpose and their gifts. And I use a very unusual, unique assessment tool. It's scientific, and it's actually called scientific hand analysis. The lines in your hands literally mimic the neural pathways in your brain, and it's so accurate, Forbes wrote an article about it. So it's kind of freaky, but very, very powerful, and literally identifies your innate life purpose, how you're meant to make a difference in the world, the special gifts you have to help you do that, and the blind spots keeping you from it, all those nasty tripping points that we all have in some way. And it's just powerful work. So that's my beginning step. And then I take that information and get other information as well and work with my clients to help them love their lives and love their work.
Well, you got my attention. I've always said it's in the hands. I think
there you go.
Well,
yep, it certainly is.
I love people's hands, but I don't look at them in the way that you look at them. But yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. So how did you get started in this?
You know, I was looking for my own purpose, Tracy. I'm MBA corporate brat and was never really happy in my work. I've had 3 careers prior to this, and I was happy for the first few years, but I always managed to run into this wall of discontent and boredom and just knowing that I was meant to do something else. It just kind of felt like something was missing.
Sure.
And I never could figure it out. I tried different things, and for me, they just didn't work. You know, like a career coach, maybe it was the wrong one. I don't know. Reading books, it just wasn't helpful. And I started Googling, how do I find my life purpose? I knew the articulation of that was what I was missing. And eventually ran across a headline, and it read, Discover Your Innate Life Purpose. And I was like, oh my God, this is just too good to be true. And I clicked on it and saw the words hand analysis and just immediately was let down. It was like, oh, come on, I'm serious here. I want my purpose. And then I saw the word scientific. For the moment, that one word allowed me to put aside my anal MBA skepticism. So I listened to the teleseminar, and it made some sense, and I really wanted my purpose, so I got a hand analysis, and short story, it changed my life.
Wow. I've just, people read about or search different ways to find their purpose and true meaning in life, and I don't think I've come across a hand analysis. So, yeah, very unique and very very cool. So along the way you mentioned it a few minutes ago, but was there a specific book that jumped out at you that's helped you along the way?
Well, the book about this work, most definitely. And that is there's several now, but the founder of this particular system, because this is not palm reading. There's no predictions to it, no fortune telling.
That was my next question, so thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, no predictions. I do make the prediction that I don't care how good your life is now, if you take action on the information that's in your hands, your life will get better, period. And I make that with 100% confidence. But like everything else relevant to coaching, you got to take action. So the book written by the founder of this system is called Life Prints, L-I-F-E, Prints, like handprints, and written by Richard Unger. That's been very meaningful because it goes into great depth about the information that we get from the fingerprints. And we get information from everything in the hands, but the fingerprints are a big piece of it. And I do have another book, if you'd like to hear that.
Absolutely.
I've found very helpful just from a growth standpoint. And I'm just so into personal growth and development. And it's called You Are a Badass by Jayne Sanders. Have you heard of that book?
No, it's the first time I've heard that mentioned.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. But I'm always reading, so if we get off on books, we'll never get back on track.
Great title. Well, those of you listening, those are 2 writer-downers right there, so make sure you get that. That'll be in the notes below, too, if you don't get that. But, I feel your passion, but what is it that drives you and gives you the passion to do what you're doing to help people?
Tracy, it's my purpose, first of all, and it's so fulfilling. I mean, I get goosebumps when I just sit and talk to you about it. To be able to help somebody understand and uncover the way they're meant to make a difference in the world. And of course, it's not a job description. That would be cuckoo. But it's as close as you're going to get and more comprehensive and specific than any other way of getting your purpose. It's so validating for people, and it's rarely a shock. It's usually people like, I kind of wondered about that, or somebody told me that, and I've heard that before, and I kind of questioned that. And then to tell them what their gifts are that they need to be using that will give them even more fulfillment, and where they're getting stuck. There's the big actionable piece. So it's just very, very empowering and meaningful, fulfilling. It's so inspiring. I was inspired and on fire before I even knew what to do with the information.
Right.
So I love helping people with that.
So help me understand this a little bit. So, if you have successful people that think they're on track, have you had findings where they were totally off track? Where they thought, wow, am I really supposed to be doing that?
Nope. No, because if you're on purpose, you know it. Mm-hmm. You love your work. You look forward to it. If you had to, you wouldn't require being paid for it. I personally believe people do need to be paid for their contribution in most cases. But anyway, if you're on purpose, you know it. But a lot of people question themselves. They doubt themselves, and they will get a hand analysis to validate, just to make sure they're on the right track.
Okay.
And they really trust this because it's etched in their hands. It's not how they asked a question, how they interpreted a question, their mood they're in when they fill out a form. They don't have to say a word. It's right there in their hands.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. This is pretty freaky. It's really shocking, yeah.
So, I've been exposed to the master key. I've been exposed to the law of attraction, and I've been on that journey. I was fortunate enough at a young age to be on that seeking and journey to find the answers, and maybe it's all been in the palm of my hand, and I've never looked there.
Well, a lot of people don't. I mean, I really think that God, and whatever word people want to use for their higher power, tries every which way to get us on track. And if we can't figure it out ourselves, then we've got it etched in our hands. I was one of those kids that never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it made me feel really stupid, even though I got good grades. I just went into business because I didn't know what else to do, and I figured I'd be able to pay the bills. But I was never really happy. I mean, now, yes, I'm running my second business, but it's different than working for somebody else and being in a corporate environment.
So people look outside of themselves to find happiness and to find satisfaction, but, that's not necessarily the case. It's all internal, right?
Yes. However, so I just want to qualify that. You know that so being on purpose, I really believe, is the only way to that more consistent joy and fulfillment that everybody craves and deserves. So what to look outside for may be, if you haven't figured it out yourself, getting help determining what that is. Because many people try too hard and too long, like I did, decades, to figure out my purpose myself. And sometimes it's just too tricky. So the purpose is in you, and then following that is within you. That joy and happiness has to come from within us, but getting the help to tap into that's okay to go outside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
okay.
This goes beyond the why. Is this different than your why?
This is the what.
This is the what.
Yeah. And so it's sometimes it overlaps with the why, but my why, my big why, my dream that helps me plan things and keep moving, work my business, get the help I need, is my dream, which is a ranch with all the critters I want and a beautiful home and acreage and a nice barn and trees all around and yada yada. That's my why. That's not my purpose.
Mm-hmm. So somebody's purpose is, well, say I'm just using myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm doing the things now that I love to do and love to help people accomplish these things.
Mm-hmm.
But back in my head, I'm thinking, well, I wonder if I was supposed to be a professional golfer, or I wonder if I was supposed to be a race car driver or something, because I have those passions.
Well, you can certainly, we talked very shortly before we started the recording. My greatest passion is horses, but it's not my purpose. Now, I could use horses to help me fulfill my purpose if I wanted to. You could probably bring in those two passions that you mentioned into your purpose if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But that's not how you're meant to make a difference in the world, by driving a race car. See, that wouldn't really be helping people. You might employ some people.
Oh, I got you. Mm-hmm.
You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if the listeners, I'm sure they've got these questions in their head. So if I'm at a point where, we've always been taught, you hear it over and over again, get good grades, get a good job, retire, and live happily ever after. Mm-hmm. But people are all in quiet desperation. I always thought that if my mother had got a little coaching and mentoring, she would have been incredible, because I have that in me. Mm-hmm. And I've been able to do things differently and think differently. And she never got that. She always had that lack mentality and struggle mentality, thinking that that's all there was.
Yeah.
And so folks that are listening that are in a dead-end job, or they're scared to step off to start a business, or, actually find their purpose, this is how you can help them.
Absolutely. And usually you already said it, Tracy, the biggest stopper is fear. Usually what we crave, what we really desire, is right on the other side of that fear. Because it's scary to get on purpose. It's not so easy. You got to step off the cliff and just trust that the parachute will open, and it will. But you will pee your pants on the way down, because it's going to be.
As they say, build the wings in the plane on the way down when you jump off the cliff. And just for instance, I've got friends that are not my business friends or my associates, but I've got family friends that are stuck in that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Just this weekend, my buddy's like, man, I'm just tired. I'm tired of working. I'm tired
Mm-hmm.
of working for other people. I just want to retire. And the next thing out of his mouth is, I just can't afford it.
Right. Well, people have the golden handcuffs, and it just, they got to prioritize. So, not yet, anyway, do I make the same amount of money I did when I was in the corporate world. Oh, Tracy, I'm so much happier. I don't even care. Don't even care. I mean, I'm doing fine, but, I did better then, and I will surpass that. But people just have the different priorities. And, when you have kids, I totally get it. It's a whole different ball game. But I just hate to hear that. There's far more than half the world who are just like your buddy. They're not on purpose. They're unhappy. It's taken its toll on their health, their relationships. They wake up in the morning and just feel blah. Oh, I remember that. I do. And I never want that again. Never want that again.
So what are you finding to be the biggest misconception about, this hand analysis?
That they think it's palm reading.
Mm.
And that it's all based on intuition. And yes, I'm intuitive, but this is a learnable system. And I'm not, in quotes, a psychic, but this is a learnable database. It's a reliable system. The guy that created this spent 40 years putting this database together, analyzed over 30,000 hands. A neurosurgeon wrote the foreword to his book from Stanford. Now, that neurosurgeon has since retired, but he used scientific hand analysis with his patients. There's a lot of medical stuff on what shows up in the hands, but this system doesn't look at health. We're looking mostly at why people are here and who they are. This pretty much talks about, not pretty much, it talks about who you are and the purpose you're meant to fulfill.
Can you share with us an example or a case study, without naming names, obviously, but can you share with us how, through hand analysis, it's turned somebody around or?
Oh, sure. So a lot of people, and I don't know the percentages, it would take me forever to figure that out, but I would say a good chunk, like 30%, as I mentioned before, get a hand analysis to validate where they are and to help them figure out where they're stuck. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who love what they do but aren't making the money they want to make. So I can identify for them where they're getting stuck. And one client, this has been several years ago, knew that she loved her work, but was really broke. She was validated in her purpose and her gifts, and it gave her just this confidence to go, okay, this really is me. I'm going for it. I'm going to step into it. And it gave her permission to really step into her power, and within 6 months, she made 6 figures. Now, that's unusual, but still, it happened. Lots of people like that who just quit making excuses and go for it, or take action on, we call it the student paths. It's our tripping points, the things that we need to work on as a human. And we all have so many. But when you learn what they are, and by the way, nobody's ever surprised. They're like, oh, yeah, yep, that's me. And they take action on that, and just things start showing up differently. We change who we are subtly on the inside, but then we get more clarity, and somebody comes into our life that changes it in some way, and doors start opening. It's just being open. And on my website are beaucoup testimonials from clients who have changed their lives through hand analysis and the coaching work too. But not everybody who gets a hand analysis needs coaching, not by any means. If they're just looking for the validation and they know how to take action, they're on it.
So
usually, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the ones that need coaching are the ones like me, who knew the information was accurate. It blew my mind. Even things I'd never thought about, I knew were accurate. It all resonated, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what my ideal work looked like, and I needed help identifying options and narrowing it down, which didn't take very long.
So would you agree that mindset and the law of attraction have something to play along with this as well, or is that something totally different?
Well, I'm also a law of attraction coach, so I very much believe in that. And mindset, absolutely, but it's all in there. It's all, the law of attraction is not going to be in your hands, but part of your mindset challenges will be. And so with my coaching, I use law of attraction.
So where do people get sideways with this? Is it because of programming from childhood, or? Yeah,
it just, it depends on how far out you want to think, how spiritual you want to be about it. Certainly, so you're born with the fingerprints. Those are formed in utero at 14 to 16 weeks and never change. So that means the information that we get from the fingerprints never changes about you. But every marking has what's called a master and a student path. Nobody can be on the master path 100% of the time. The action that I'm referring to is taking action on the student paths to get to the master path more often. So that's how people get sideways. It's just part of their nature. Some of it they're born with. Some does come from society. Everything else in your hands can change, by the way, other than the fingerprints. So new lines can come in, the shape of your hands. So when a behavior or a thought pattern gets imprinted in your brain long enough, it's going to rewire your neural pathways, and then that can show up in the hands. So I can't remember the word you used. How do we get crossways? I think you said that.
Or sideways.
Sideways, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just in our nature. We are not and will never be perfect, and that's what's so powerful about this work is revealing for someone where they do get sideways and what to do about it. Why they're stuck, why they're bored, overwhelmed, confused, frustrated, procrastinating, angry, depressed, relationship stuff, money stuff, health stuff. All that shows up in the hands. Crazy,
what would
isn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say would be the most important thing that the listener should think about when they want to seek out this hand analysis?
The most important thing would be if they feel it's important for them to make the difference they were born to make in the world, if that matters. I certainly believe it does, because I know nobody's really fully joyful and fulfilled unless they do. And everybody's got a purpose that they're meant to fulfill.
So does this require the person to be actually in front of you, or how do you do that?
Nope. I have clients as far away as Singapore, Malaysia, Canada, England. I use handprints. So I have a handprint kit that I send to people. They take their prints. It's all got every instruction they need in there. They take their prints, get them back to me, and then we do this by Zoom, a video call, so that I can pull up the prints and show them the markings that I'm talking about, which everybody finds fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
It's really fun to see what your hands have to tell you. It's really fun.
Well, I'm anxious to find out myself, and I'm sure the listeners are as well. What would be the best way to find out more and reach out to you if they want your help?
Yeah, probably to go to my website, which is purposewisdom.com, and there will be a way to contact me through there.
Purposewisdom.com. Perfect.
Speak with Jayne, talk with Jayne, some drop-down thing. But there's also a lot more information about hand analysis, tons of testimonials, And Tracy, there's even a horse section. That's how crazy I am about horses.
That's awesome. Well, Jayne, it's been a pleasure. Very, very awesome way of you helping people, and that's super excited for you, and I look forward to finding out more as well. So thank you for being on the show.
You know, I want to mention real quickly, I forgot, if somebody reaches out to me from my website and tells me they heard about me through your show, I will give them a special price. Nice.
Well, we appreciate that as well. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you, Tracy, for having me. I really enjoyed talking with you.
You're welcome. So there you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show with T. Allen Haynes. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. We will see you next time on the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show.